Yeah, it's some of the brilliant Christy Moore, folks, with a Viva La Quinta Brigada, live at the Glasgow Barrowlands. One place I've never ever been to. I'll have to try and get there for a gig one of these days. Ashamedly, to say I've never been there. So many great rebel bands have played and graced the stage of that place. Right, so here we go, folks. We'll do this one live. After this first tune, we're going to have Damien Quinn live on the show. So this is the first of his three tracks. It's a great track written many, many years ago, all about the last letter written by Patrick Pearse. The song's called My Last Farewell. So it is, and say there's many songs could have picked from Damien to play, but I've picked three songs that I want to play. Basically, that let you hear his true qualities of his voice and of his playing guitar. Obviously, he's done a lot of sort of cheesier songs and party songs that are great and everybody loves. But this show today, it's all about obviously bringing Damien on and showcasing his qualities as a musician. So it is. So this is Damien Quinn, folks, with My Last Farewell. And once this song is done, we're going to have Damien, hopefully, fingers crossed, with no issues, live on the show.
Dearest mother, I am writing just to say I won't be home. There's something that I have to do, and I must do alone. Then they took me and they put me in this lonely prison cell. Tonight my thoughts are with you as I say my last farewell. Won't you say goodbye to Margaret, Mary, Bridget and me all? I have no words to tell you how much I'll miss you all. Though I may not show it, you know I loved you well. So in my final letter, I will bid my last farewell. Dearest brother, won't you take good care of all the folks for me? Go home to Rathfarnham on the day they set you free. I was happy when you stood by me in all that we've been through. No one has ever had so true brothers such as you. Won't you say goodbye to Margaret, Mary, Bridget and me all? I have no words to tell you how much I'll miss you all. And though I may not show it, you know I loved you well. So in my final letter, I will bid my last farewell. Dearest mother, it's so very sad that now we have to part. To understand the reasons that troubled your poor heart, I had told you since I was a boy, it was my destiny to die through brave soldier, so that one day you'd be free. Won't you say goodbye to Margaret, Mary, Bridget and me all? I have no words to tell you how much I miss you all. And though I may not show it, you know I left you well.
There we go, folks. So Damien Quinn with My Last Farewell. So hopefully, Damien, can we hear you?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear, bro.
Good man, Damien. Glad to have you on the show. It's 2 seconds to just pull up here the wee questions I have for you on the other screen here. 2 seconds. Folks, yeah, we're joined on the show here today live by Damien Quinn, live from County Down this afternoon. So, Damien, let's say, so it's 35 years this year. You'll be on the road sort of singing songs, be it as a 2-piece, 4-piece, or as a solo artist. So, obviously, 1987, it all started off for you with you and your late brother Desi. So, take it from there and sort of how did your whole journey into the music scene all start out?
I suppose all my life as a youngster, I was constantly listening to the Wolf Tones and the Barleycorn. So it was basically a house full of rebel music growing up in. And we first started off playing the accordion in the Wolf Tone accordion band in Uri, which our family eventually run the band up till it finished. So most of us played the accordion, between the accordion and the drums in the marching band. The whole family were involved. So anytime any relatives from England or America were home that called our house for the music, and we would be asked to put on a wee bit of a show as kids. So then my brother Desi learned the guitar, and then I would have watched him and learned from watching him. So then the both of us were playing guitars, you know. So we decided to go out as a 2-piece. Quite young, and we've done a bit of practice.
What age would you been there when you first started out, the 2 years?
Probably 17.
17, okay.
So we started out around that time, 17, 18. We're doing a couple of wee 2-piece, just middle of the road stuff. It wouldn't have been rebel music to start off with. Some venues were just looking a wee bit of dance music and sort of old style country and western or ballads or something like that. But it was rebel music that we wanted to be pursuing.
Into, yeah.
So we were offered a chance to support the Wolf Tones in Uri Town Hall. It was a function on. So we brought the other brother in to play bass guitar just to fill the stage up. And it went down absolutely fantastic. Some great gig, great reviews. A lot of people around Uri didn't know we played music. And that sort of, it was the talk of the Newry at that stage from the Travis, calling us the Quinn family.
Yeah, the Quinn family, right.
So, as gigs started coming in and we started getting into bigger venues, we took on a banjo player. Jerry had played for us for many, many years. So at that time, some venues were doing as a 3-piece, 2-piece, 4-piece, depending, I suppose, on what the pub was willing to pay.
Yeah, yeah.
Then eventually we remained as a 4-piece then. So everything took off from that.
So obviously, like back then, sort of the likes of the Wolf Tones, the Dubliners, Clancy Brothers, the Barleycorn, probably, and as well coming in that stage of the Irish Brigade, would probably been like the forefront of the sort of like the Irish rebel music scene. So what was it like sort of then as using as a band trying to sort of break out in the pub scene and get your names known? I mean, was it more or less all just Newry and they're in sort of Armagh, sort of South Armagh you were trying to, at first? I mean, when would you have sort of trying to sort of branch out and get all over the place then, like?
We've done a lot of travelling around Ireland at that time. You know, we were a lot around County Monaghan. So we were South Armagh, Monaghan. And it was then that we eventually were asked to come over to Scotland to play. And once we went to Scotland, we never looked back. There wasn't too many bands at that time in Scotland the way there is today. So a rebel band to come over from Ireland to play in Scotland. I think it was the first time we went over was 1988, 89 maybe. And just packed houses the whole time over there, you know.
That was the old slow boat then, heading over to Glasgow. So there been.
Well, that was it. You had to go to Larne. Not something you would wish anybody on.
Well, tell me this here. I mean, see over your whole years travelling and going back and forth to Scotland or England. I take it first hand that you would have had a lot of bother from the authorities, like from the cops and stuff, constantly getting searched and your stuff took off you. I mean, were you ever sort of like held up a lot of the times, and there's any gigs that you missed because of being held up by the police or whatever?
We always took 2 cars because there was 4 of us. We had no van at the time, so
right.
The amount of equipment we had, it was always 2 cars. And Daisy drove 1 car, I drove the other. Two going each car, But at around that time in the 80s, I would have been getting a lot of hassle from the security forces. I've been arrested a few times and suffered beatings at different checkpoints and stuff like that. So I was targeted on a daily basis. But I remember going to the gigs and the army, the soldiers, whatever you want to call them, if they stopped you on the way to a gig, they asked you to take all the equipment out of the car and they'd search the car. Then they'd put it back in again and then they'd say, we're going to do the search again. And it's just a matter of delaying you to the gig.
Yeah.
So the other boys would have been away on and set the gear up.
Right.
They would have to perform as a two-piece till I got there, which happened many a time. But I remember going to Scotland. We were always getting stopped coming off the boat. But I remember coming back from Scotland. We were sort of late for the boat at Stranraer. And Desi was first. He was flying away on the car. I was coming behind him. The police asked for Desi's license and they just seen D. Quinn and just pulled him over and waved us on.
Right, so you thought it was you in originally? Right.
Yeah, we got onto the boat and the boat took off. Desi was left. Desi and the other fellow was left behind.
So see, obviously the name Justice, you were originally known as Just Us, weren't you, when it first started?
It started off as Just Us. And then when it became All Rebel, we changed it to Justice.
Right, okay.
But some venues, one week, they would still be advertising as Just Us, and until eventually it weaned out,
So tell me this here. Obviously, sort of during the time of the Justice, you recorded sort of several albums, and it's I think it's fantastic now to have the likes of Spotify. So it is, where and obviously you put there a few weeks ago your numbers, your downloading stuff you've had on Spotify. It's great to be able to put all these albums on for future listeners now, young ones coming in now. It's great. So it is obviously I would sort of start the show now every week when we start off the new format. I always play the Justice version of Lullaby to Heaven during the countdown of the 5-minute countdown. And it's just every week, Damien, I would sit and be farting about it and listening to it. And there's something I've always missed every week. And you hear another volunteer's name, no mention in this here song. Do you think, obviously, doing this here every single week, is there a big responsibility on your shoulders, obviously as a Republican sort of balladeer sort of / entertainer, to constantly keep the names of these volunteers alive through your sets?
Well, I think it's an honour to be able to commemorate the brave volunteers that give their lives for freedom through music, song and stories, And I've lost a lot of friends myself down through the years that were murdered by the SAS of the RUC, So it's a tribute to these people that give their lives for freedom. So, they'll always remembered in song. I know there's not a song wrote about every volunteer.
Yeah.
But it's also soothing for the family as well that our loved ones are commemorated through music and song. It also gives a bit of history maybe to the younger generation coming up about what this was all about and what sacrifice this was made.
Obviously, on that there subject, I started off the interview there with your version of My Last Farewell. And I think the reason I picked that version for that, there's loads of different versions people have sung it. It's definitely up there with, I'd say, my favourite songs as a story, of an Irish sort of story. So it is. So I'm constantly sort of harping on to people about you, Damien, basically more or less saying like you're more than Belly on the Telly, you're more than Rebel Sundays. Obviously they've been big, massive, successful songs for you. People love them, but I would like to say this interview today, I'd rather play a lot of your songs that sort of let people hear your sort of musical qualities out more. So would the likes of that their song there. It's a beautiful song, all about obviously Patrick Pearce's his last letter to his mother. So it is. Tell us this here, but Stephen, obviously, like it's just you. Do you prefer sort of doing like maybe a set in the bar where it's just yourself and the guitar and your stomp box, then be able to do the likes of these songs where they're maybe the slower ballads and stuff rather than all like the more like rowdier ones. Because I know like a lot of your people will travel to your gigs and it's a lot of Celtic fans, and a lot of times a lot of people are very drunk and stuff, and you might feel pressure you have to do all the livelier ones. But do you enjoy doing the likes of that sort of song, My Last Farewell?
Yeah, My Last Farewell would be my favourite song to sing. You know, and I would feel as happy sitting in a bar just doing ballads all night. You know,
yep.
Because you enjoy singing the ballads better. You know, and the likes of My Last Farewell, the Joe McDonald song for Marcella, stuff like that. You know, even the Ballad of P.P. Rooney, which was the last song that I wrote.
Yeah, I'm going to go to that one at the end of the show today. That's so obviously you talked earlier on this start of the interview about your brother Damien. Obviously he was a big part of the band from the start, and he passed away probably in real tragic circumstances. So tell us a wee bit about your brother and how he passed away.
He was out playing pool at our local Gaelic club one Thursday night, and he said to one of the boys, "We need to see this for a shot." He didn't get taken the shot, he just collapsed at the table, brain hemorrhage, you know. So he was 27 years of age, so young lad, you know. Just
out of the blue? Nothing? He wasn't sick or anything? Or like
or nothing. 27 years. And we were sort of, our mother had only passed away a few weeks before it, at 58. So the wreaths were still on the grave when we had to go through the whole motions again, you know. So quite tragic at the time for my dad, you know. But Desi would have been the one that done all the talking at the gigs.
Right.
I was the lead vocalist, and Desi joined in on the choruses, and he would have sang.
He would have told the stories at the start about the songs, who the volunteers and stuff.
The one that done all the crack, the jokes, introduced everything. So when Desi died, and we had to go back on stage after a few months, you know, we were looking at each other. What are we going to say?
Yeah.
Because he had done all that,
yeah,
and it was like starting out over again, having to learn to interact with the audience, you know. So, but he was a bit of a joker, Desi was, you know, a bit of a laugh, bit of crack, and a bit of a joker, you know, and loved winding people up, you know. So,
did you maybe take a break from the band at all after this happened? I mean, were you sort of straight back into it again, or I mean, how did that affect you?
After it happened, we were off the road for about 4 months.
Right. Okay.
And we had a big tribute night for Desi before we went back on stage up in what's called the Old Border, up at the border. So there was, I think, there was about 1,500 people at it. You know, they came from all over. People that had followed Justice down through the years, you know. So it was a big tribute night, and a lot of bands came and done a wee slot each, and that was we done 20 minutes that night as well. So that was our first night back. And then after that, we just went back on the road as a 3-piece. Yeah.
So I'm going to do another song now, Damien, the next one for you. And this is a track from an album you released like last year. You've done like 2 albums in the space of a couple of months of each other. This was obviously the album you released in dedication of the Hunger Strikers. The album was called Song of the Lark. So we're going to play the actual song itself, the headline track from the album. So obviously the Song of the Lark. So tell me firstly about releasing this album and sort of such a momentous year for the 40th anniversary of the Hunger Strikes, and then a wee bit about this particular track and how it came about. So I remember when I interviewed before in Bundoran for the podcast, and then I had you on the phone last year, you had been saying you've been working on a song with Bobby Sands for years, and you kept going back to it after a couple of months if you're out, after a night out and you come in. Is this the song here then, is it, that you were working on?
Yeah, well, it was the song, but I done a lot of change when it came to put the music to it. The song that I had been working on for years, it didn't fit into the music then. I had no music to it. But then when I came to put the music in it, I ended up changing the words a lot. And it didn't actually compare much then, eventually, to what I had originally planned to write. You know, so I had to readjust to get it to fit into the music, you know. But it was something, the 40th anniversary of Hunger Strike, I thought it was just appropriate to release an album to commemorate the Hunger Strikers, because I think it was our modern day 1916,
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
81 hunger strikes to that, and it's probably what most people in modern day can relate to, of why they became involved in the struggle. It's probably the hunger strikes played a big part in people's choice to become part as an active Republican.
Yeah. So listen, I'm going to put you on mute here, Damien, and then we'll come back to you after the song's finished. So, folks, this is going to be Damien Quinn up next for you with his track that he wrote called "The Song of the Lark," and it was on his an album he released last year called "The Song of the Lark." So here we go. This is Damien Quinn, folks, with "The Song of the Lark."
Let us guide your spirit home. We'll fly beside you till your journey's done. We'll sing sweet melodies to thee. For young Bobby Sands and his comrades are free. Locked up in their cells with no natural light, tortured and beaten by day and by night. Wrapped up in a blanket in a cold edge black cell, these young Irish patriots were living in hell. So a protest was started for their 5 demands, a hunger for justice led by Bobby Sands. With his 9 brave companions they gave up their lives. The lark and the free bird are with them tonight. Let us guide your spirit home. We'll fly beside you till your journey's done. We'll sing sweet melodies to thee. For young Bobby Sands and his comrades are free. There's Hughes and O'Hara, Devine and there's Sands, Doherty and Lynch, McElwee made a stand. MacDonald and Hersand and Raymond McCreesh, until Ireland is free they will not rest in peace. No greater love than to lay down your life for your fellow comrades, a brave sacrifice. As years they rolled onwards, we'll think of these men. We salute you, brave comrades, till we meet again. Let us guide your spirit home. We'll fly beside you till your journey's done. We'll sing sweet melodies to thee. For young Bobby Sands and his comrades are free. Many years have passed by and their memories live on. Through young generations who'll sing you these songs of our true gallant heroes of the year 81, who took on the might of the Brits and they won. So come all you people, both gallant and true, remember these brave men who died then for you. They gave up their lives for you and for me. One Ireland, one island, united and free. Let us guide your spirit home. We'll fly beside you till your journey's done. We'll sing sweet melodies to thee. For young Bobby Sands and his comrades are free. Let us guide your spirit home. We'll fly beside you till your journey's done. We'll sing sweet melodies to thee. For young Bobby Sands and his comrades are free. For young Bobby Sands and his comrades are free.
Look, folks, that's the sound of Damien Quinn there for you with The Song of the Lark from that's the title track from his album, The Song of the Lark. Damien, just looking there at that there on Spotify here, did Danny Devaney design? Did you say he designed the cover art for their album?
Yeah, I got in touch with Danny because I knew it was work and fabulous work that he had. So he had commissioned that for the 40th anniversary of Hunger Strike. So he offered it to me to put on the album cover, and I was delighted to have such a professional artist work like that on it. So it's a privilege to have it. Fair play to Danny.
Yeah, well, I had Danny on the show last year. He's a really good friend of my dad's, so I was privileged to have him up in the studio here. So like, Damien, now let's talk now about your connection to Celtic FC. Obviously, a big chunk of your sort of huge following worldwide is down to your sort of love for the club. You have written obviously several songs, sort of parody songs, including like Ballad and Telly, Kieran Tierney. You also wrote a song about the legendary Caesar himself, Billy McNeil. Celtic's very first manager, Willie Mealy, was from your hometown of Newry. So he was sort of not too far from where you are first. So tell me this here, first about your love for the club, and then about expressing sort of this passion through song, obviously about the club, and then tell us, it's a bit of a loaded question, this one, so I sort of asked him first about when you first get into sort of sport in Celtic. Was it from like a real, like a young age? And obviously then about doing a lot of these songs, like the Kieran Tierney songs, the Billy McNeil one, obviously the Paddy McCourt song, and then where is it, like how far and wide has singing these Celtic songs brought you to? I know you've been to Las Vegas, you've been to Thailand, all over the place. So I mean, they say Celtic and the fans play a massive sort of chunk as supporters of yourself. So just tell us a wee bit about that. They're a part of your sort of like trade.
Yeah, well, just to start off with, Willie Mealy, yes, born in Newry, and we're involved in there's a group of us who got together here in Newry to fundraise for a statue, Willie Mealy in Newry. So it's the support we've had throughout the world in fundraising already for the statue. We've raised over £40,000. So the statue is going to start, and the guy from Tyrone is starting to design the statue this month, and it's going to take 10 months to be ready. So it's the following year we're going to have it unveiled in Newry. The council have given us a plot of land for the Willie Mealy statue. So it's great to see something like that coming to life, you know, because down through the years, many people have, different groupings have said they were going to do a fundraiser.
Do something and never did, yeah.
So this one is on its final journey. And there's also going to be a dinner dance in Celtic Park in April. It's on a Friday night, and it's another fundraiser that's been organised from people in Scotland, with a lot of the Newry ones travelling over. But as regards to supporting Celtic, when we, as Justice, started going, I didn't support Celtic or didn't follow football as a young age, you know, during the Troubles.
Yep.
And my life was taken up more with Justice, you know, in the Rebels songs. But when we started to go to Scotland to do gigs, people over in Scotland started offering us tickets to go to the matches and stuff like that, and maybe booking us for the cup final day before the cup final or after the cup final. So that sort of introduced the whole Celtic connection. So that's the Justice days were in the late 80s. So that's when we became more aware of what Celtic was about. And, you know, so gradually then, after our connection with Scotland, we all started to, and more so probably after the ceasefires in '94, there was a lot of people that were involved in the struggle started, you know, going to see Celtic, where beforehand they wouldn't have went to see Celtic. It's probably just they were obviously busy elsewhere, you know, but it freed up time for a lot of people in Ireland. That Celtic was another thing that could start taking on to go away. It's a different probably way of life now then at that stage. But so we started going to Celtic games quite regular then. And because then I started writing a few Celtic songs, the following got bigger. And then I was getting the European games to sing in different countries.
What would have been the first one you done? The first Celtic song?
Way back in the day, we were just singing the likes of what everybody else was singing over and over, you know, Hail, Hail and stuff like that, you know. So it was only in the last couple of years that I actually started to write my own Celtic songs, you know. But probably the best part of it was with the European trips.
Yeah.
You know,
I think for me, there's a video there. I think it was when it was in Rome. So it was. There's a few videos there on YouTube of you playing over there. Obviously playing like the Hail Hail and the Rebel Sundays as well. And like, and there was a few gigs happening that night actually too around in the city. Like, but I mean, looked absolutely just bonkers. Like, phenomenal like trip to be part of.
There was about 600 in the venue, and there's probably another 2,000 outside trying to get in. So Rome was probably the highlight of all the European trips, you know.
Yeah, definitely. And even the result as well in that match, like, which was fantastic. So it was probably one of the decent games in Cham had for the team. Like, so he did.
Great memories and great to have, you know. But even the Kieran Tierney song, it's coming close to the million views on YouTube as well.
Yep.
Even though he has left
the club and still
probably up there with one of the best songs that I've wrote.
Damien, it is. It's just so. I remember actually going back to Bundoran a few years ago when you'd sort of first released it, like whatever, and it's like even then playing in the central bar, the crowd just going mad for it, and they knew every word of the song. So that, like, I mean, there was a few times like you stopped singing and the whole crowd was just singing along to the words of it, like, and it was amazing. It's a brilliant wee tune, so it is.
It's even though he's left Celtic, it's still probably one of the most requested songs from the young people.
Yeah.
Well,
that sort of moves us on to like the party bits, sort of obviously. So I mentioned you're sort of much more than Ballad and Tally and Rebel Sundays, but we'll have to sort of talk about the song itself. So last year, your video from the Rock Bar of singing Rebel Sundays, it reached basically over 1 million views on YouTube, so it did. And for a song, and I have to say this here, for a song that sort of many in your own scene, sort of on the Rebel scene, whatever, sort of have described as like tacky, shite, a pile of pish. 1 million views, and obviously the many thousands of downloads on Spotify as well. It tells a very, very different story, Damien, about that song to us. So tell me, firstly, about where it all, the whole Rebel Sundays started, how it started, and then obviously about how this sort of song itself came about.
Yeah, well, at the start it was only myself and Jerry who was doing Rebel Sundays in the Rock Bar. You'd never heard of a Rebel Sunday anywhere, England, Ireland, Scotland. It was just the Rock Bar, Belfast Rebel Sunday. So it started off there, but for the two of us. And I thought to myself, God, I'll write a wee song just for the crowd that's in the Rock Bar. I didn't plan to write a song that would be sang worldwide. You know, it was a bit of fun, bit of crack writing that song. Because when I sang in the Rock Bar, in between the songs, when the crowd started singing, would have sung that bit, Damien Quinn hits the Queen.
Yeah.
J-O. So that was the crowd would have sung that to me during the breaks just to keep themselves amused. So that's where that line of the song came from, you know. And I says, well, sure, put it into the song. And Jerry Oak was singing a song as well that he had wrote.
The Jimmy Bryson one, wasn't it? He read.
He says, F the flag. I don't know, we're not allowed to swear here.
No, that's I don't know if there was the one he read about Jimmy Bryson or the one that was about Willie Fraser. It was Fuck Your Flag, and I think that's a Jimmy Bryson song he had read, so it was.
Line in the song. So the song originally was just, all along was just for a bit of crack among the few regulars. So never in a month of Sundays did I think that this song was going to be a signature tune for me. And every venue go into now, people's all singing it. While you're here in Damian Quinn hits the Queen, they're constantly all singing it. You get away with singing that song 2 or 3 times in one.
Yeah. I think what something struck for me, and I think you maybe got a wee bit of abuse for this here online, was you were doing a gig in Bulgaria or something, was it? In a hotel in Bulgaria somewhere, and there was all these kids, literally kids up the front singing this song like they were. And people were going, that's child abuse, and all them children are singing about this. And like you're going, that's fantastic. Kids that age, and they're getting brought up, and they're singing Rebel Sundays, you know what I mean? Like, for me, out there was just amazing to watch that. So it was like.
I heard a few people along the journey of gigs in Scotland and here and stuff like that, England, Scotland, you have parents telling you a different story about their child singing the song.
Yeah.
And one lady had said to me that the school teacher had sent for her to say, your son or daughter singing this song, Damien, you know, right. Who's learning the child these songs, you know what I mean? So you get them wee stories.
I think I would play like Rebel Sundays myself all the time. Like no matter where I am, if I'm doing a wee Rebel set, I'll say I'll chant it and play it and see if anybody knows the song. And no matter where I am, it always surprises me. People, there's always maybe 3 or 4 in the crowd to go straight away, go and they're up and they're dancing. Even there, I was playing boxing night and the only Arms in Toonbridge. It's only in the bar, like, and I ended up playing most of the night was all Rebel stuff. And like literally, I stuck that song on, Damien, and like the whole bar was just dancing on the tables, going mad. Every single person in the place. And I was like, this is just nuts. Like, I mean, it's no matter where you go, people know this song now. Like, I mean, I think that's why it's had so many views on YouTube and stuff as it has. Like, it's brilliant. So
it made Jerry Oak famous.
Aye, his head's big enough, so it is, Jerry's. Just see on that there on the Rebel Sunday songs. Obviously, a few months ago, you released a dance mix of it, like a rave version. And I know now, even I played it, and a few people, some more people on the scene have says, "Fucking catch a grip, playing that there. What are you at and all this shit and all blah blah, and what's he doing?" And I think you had sort of said it was you'd gained like a sort of massive young audience from doing your gigs in the what do you call it bar that down the falls you're doing the Monday night, the Laurel Leaf.
Yeah. And
you were saying that across McLean ones and all of them coming in, they're all going mad, and is that how that song, the dance version, came about then from doing the wee one-off version?
They were coming up to it and looking at that song Maniac. Is that what you call it?
Yeah, Mark McCabe, Maniac. Yeah.
So a lot of the young ones were coming up and they were looking at me to sing, which I didn't. I don't sing that song, you know. But that's when then they says, "Well, sure, why don't you do a version of Rebel Sunday in the same tempo, same style?" So it was more for a young crowd that be able to put on Spotify to let them listen to. You know, it's not something that I would be singing that version.
Yeah, it's just a bit of crack, like, so it was, aye.
And I did. I got a lot of messages. People saying, "Class, love it." You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, just see, obviously, you talking about young people there. Something I want to bring up. You released a song there, about young Noah Donahue. Damien did. And I think this here is a cause very, very close to your heart. So it is. So tell me, I mean, obviously it's a travesty about what happened to that wee lad here, and hopefully his family do get justice eventually. Tell me how that song came about. Did Fiona approach you, or did you just feel you had to do something? And I mean, and just to highlight the travesty of what happened to this wee lad, or?
Well, I wanted to highlight the option, so I had messaged to see would it be okay if I was able to put it down in words, you know, try and highlight the case of Noah Donahue. So the song was actually using Fiona's own words in it when she said, "No answers, we have nothing." So that was the main line in the song. So again, I wanted to highlight and get the truth of what really happened, you know. And the song, absolutely, still I get lots of requests for people at the gigs, would you sing the Noah Donahue song, you know. And it told the exact story of what happened, you know, as regards to the child going away on the bicycle for the day with his friends and not knowing, or the family not knowing what happened. And there is answers there that are unanswered, you know. Yep. So anything that I was willing to do to highlight Noah Donahue's case. So,
you did, and it's definitely and just see here, and the people are putting up blue hearts nice there in the comment section. So there, I'll say, Damien, anybody who sort of follows you on social media, will know how much you sort of love getting up around the mountains and hiking and stuff. And you put a few pictures up the other day up around the mountains there in the snow. You love a good dander, but obviously for a while that was all sort of put on hold for a while there. So it was, and obviously you're gigging as well after you were involved in a pretty serious car accident last year. So you were. I mean, I was actually playing the same gig that night up in Kinturk Hall, the Jared Glacken's gig, and I remember Marty Higgins coming up and saying to us, "Oh, just heard him, Damien, he's been in a bad crash, whatever." And you were like, "What the fuck?" And like, I texted you the next morning, you sent me pictures of your car, like, and I was like, "How has he come out of this? Like, this accident? I mean, like, alive, whatever." So I mean, tell me, like, what do you remember about their night that they're happening, and like, sort of how you now? I mean, are you sort of back the full fitness, like, and everything, whatever, or?
It was a scary experience. It was. I thought it was time up. You know, I just came around a corner and the car just careered off across the road. I was only doing 30 miles an hour, you know, so careered across the road and into another car. Oil on the road, oil spill. But at the time of the impact, I thought, this is it. I'm not getting into this, because I broke my sternum, the airbag burst, and I couldn't breathe, couldn't get my breath, and my foot was dislocated. So, struggling to get breath, I thought, this is it. But lucky enough, somebody up there was looking down at me. But,
what was it? Did you see the other guy come towards you? Was it a head-on collision or like?
Yeah.
Jesus.
As soon as I came around the corner, the car skidded on the aisle, and I careered over the first side of the road and head-on collision with another Jeep. I think it was the size of the car that I was driving that maybe saved me. It was a good height on it. It's like an SUV. If it had been a small car, I don't think I would have come out of it.
Come out of it? Well, there we go. So thanks for you. So you're all on the main now. You're back to full fitness now then?
Saying that, my foot will never be the same again. When I came down from the mountain the other day, it was painful,
Yeah.
But I can live with that, It's not something that's going to hinder me or stop me from going about my business. But I didn't think at the time when I was in cast that I would be back up mountains in such a short space of time, So
well, you're getting there anyway, so you are. Yeah. Something I want to bring up as well, Damien. I don't know if this here thing is still happening, but you're going to be involved in an Irish Ballad cruise thing, so you are. Is it happening in what's that happening in America or something? When's this going to be taking place?
Caribbean cruise a month today, 4 weeks, right. 6th of February. It's like an Irish rebel cruise, and it was Derek Warfield and the Young Wolf Tones that approached me because of the big social following that I have on Facebook.
Yeah.
When you come on board and advertise for us, and we'll have you on board on the ship. So it's my first time singing on a cruise. I always wanted to do a cruise. So a great opportunity, and many thanks to Derek Warfield for. So
where's it leaving from? Is it leaving from America or what?
Yeah, Fort Lauderdale. You have to fly to Fort Lauderdale outside Miami, and it's a 7-night cruise. And the likes of myself, all Fucked Up, which are one of my favourite bands, are on it. Derek Warfield and a few other artists, So with the times that's in it, I wasn't too sure.
What's going to happen in it, yeah.
Especially because you have to take COVID tests and stuff like that before it. But so far, I'm just 4 weeks away, so hopefully it's all.
Yeah, we some experience anyway, so we'll be singing on a cruise ship. So well.
28 degrees this time of year. Well, due a holiday by now.
Definitely, I just settle for Bundoran again this year if I can, just to get away. So so obviously we're talking now, Damien, about the here and now. So is there any major plans? What have you plans for maybe another live album, or what any big gigs you have coming up?
Well, just we're doing in the week before Paddy's Day. I'm back over in England with full weekend schedule. A few gigs in London, Newcastle for the Tyneside CSC, and so that's in March. April, I'm back over in Scotland, and again, it's sort of hard to plan anything at the minute with restrictions. Still a lot of bars are unwilling to. Especially in Ireland, there's a lot of bars still, if they can't pack a dance floor, they don't want to pay for a band or a singer.
Yep.
So it's hard. We'll just have to ride the storm here and just settle things down before we do any other plans, But England and Scotland always be on the map for me,
Yeah. So is there any plans that could go? Obviously, I know that they have Marty Higgins does this thing over in Santa Ponsa every year over in the Dublin and stuff, and I think you were over before playing with the Charlie and the Boys, were you? I think the Celtic convention there or something.
We done the first Celtic convention there in Santa Ponsa. It was Harry Flynn from the Keltswell.
In Celtswell, yeah.
So I opened that festival. That was 2010, 2011, I think. Maybe 2011. So I opened that, and then Charlie and the Boys were on. They were doing the gigs every night.
Was that on actually on the big stage on the square? Yeah, we would go there most years, and it's usually all tribute bands, ABBA and all. And it'd be mad to be able to go and see a rebel night and a rebel band playing that stage. So it would be brilliant.
It was about 1,200 in the square at that time. So
madness, what is? Right, so we're going to go and do the last song now, Damien. Right, this one I want to talk. It's obviously. This is a song that gets requested most weeks in the show. If you mentioned there, it's the latest one you've done there, so it's another original song written by yourself. I've sort of told you on yourself on a couple of occasions. I've said it in the show that for me, this is your hands down best work. So it is definitely. It's the Ballad of Peter Pee Rooney. Obviously, this is a very emotional one for me. As he was a legendary West Belfast Republican. So he was a legendary volunteer. Obviously, I was privileged to play at Peter's Memorial Night in the Rock Bar a few years ago alongside two Tonys, in Spirit of Freedom. Obviously, I got to speak to some of his family, some of his comrades. They were telling me about some of the operations he was involved in, whatever, and stuff. And just what a guy he was, you know. So obviously, I would put him up right up there, like with the likes of Francis Hughes, Mark McGuinness, the Dark, Bobby Story, obviously as a revolutionary Republican. So tell me a bit about this here song. I mean, did the family approach you? I mean, to write this here, or what was the background of it?
Yeah, I was singing down in Carnarford in a house, sort of party, you know, when the pubs weren't allowed open during COVID. And it was his nephew that said to me, would you write a song for my uncle? And so it took off from there. So I got a bit of information from some of PB's comrades about him. And I was able to put it into words, you know, into music. And a lot of people have said it to me that it's definitely up there with one of the best songs that I have written. It's the best song that I have written.
Definitely. I mean, it's very emotional listening to it. So I mean, even just listening to the words, about the stuff he was involved in, about just his whole life. It's a really, really, it's fair play to you. It's a brilliant track.
One of Pippi's closest comrades said that you nailed it. That the words in that song, that was just Pippi, you know, and what he did and the jobs, the operations he was involved in. So, but even people that didn't know Pippi and have heard the song, they said to me that that's up there with some of the best ballads that's out there at the minute, you know. So I'm just glad to keep his memory alive as well,
yep.
and that people do like it. But when I played it here in the house, when I was putting the music to it, during lockdown I bought a bouzouki and I started playing it, and it has given me a new dimension to putting the music to songs.
Yes, definitely.
You know, because there's different chord structures on the bouzouki and different sound. I think it was down to playing the bouzouki that I was able to come up with.
Had you played that before, or did you learn yourself it, or when did you start playing the bouzouki? Like,
during lockdown, I learned myself it. So I'm starting to play it. I haven't played it out in the gigs yet, but I play it regular in the house, and it gives new dimension to the ballads, you know. Well,
definitely. I think even there, what that proves is like with Quiva from Clover coming on board. Obviously, you've seen yourself at the Big Fans Gathering gig, and her playing the bouzouki in some of the songs just adds a completely different sound to their set altogether. It does, like.
Yeah, no, it's great. So I'm just delighted that the family and the people in Belfast have taken the Pee Rooney song on, people from further afield, you know. But, so when I'm singing in Belfast, the Laura Leaf for the rocker, Nancy Mulligan, you're asked for it all the time.
Yeah. So are you at the night then, Damien, are you?
I'm on at 6 o'clock on South Armagh in Toll's bar in Camlock. That's the village of Brimacresh. And then I'm on down to Nancy Mulligan's at 10 o'clock in Castle Street in Belfast.
Camlock, the worst place in Ireland for phone signal. So it is. Oh, seriously, it is weird.
Yeah. And about 3 mile each side of it.
Oh, it's brutal. So it's so listen, Damien, thanks very much for coming on today, mate. It's been a privilege and an honour having you on the show. And just glad we had no feedback this time. So great. So listen, Damien, enjoy your gigs tonight in Camlock and down in Nancy Mulligan as well. So now we're going to do Damien's latest song, folks. This is Damien Quinn with the Ballad of Peter Pee Rooney, folks, so on Rebel Sunday. So thank you very much, Damien, for coming on today.
Thank you.
All right, mate. Cheers. Good luck. Thanks. Right, folks, yeah, there you go. So thanks very much to Damien for coming on. Say this is a track we'll play most weeks in the show, and we're going to dedicate this one here to James Devon McClave, who always asks for it. He loves this song, and it's a personal favourite of my own as well. So here we go. This is Damien Quinn, folks, with the Ballad of Peter Pee Rooney.
I'll tell to you the story of one of Ireland's bravest sons. His name is P.P. Rooney. In St. James's life begun. He was born into a conflict of oppression and of shame. So he took a stand for Ireland to break those English chains. So we'll sing a P.P. Rooney from St. James's by the Falls, that fearless fighting soldier for Ireland gave his all. No more we'll see her smiling face, that face that we all knew. You lived your life for freedom's fight and for Ireland's 32. He watched his brother Daniel die, murdered by the crown. Despite his fight for freedom, us crappies won't lie down. He joined a Fena Erin at 16 years of age, then soon became a volunteer in the Belfast Brigade. So we'll sing a P.P. Rooney from St. James's by the Falls, that fearless fighting soldier for Ireland gave his all. No more we'll see her smiling face, that face that we all knew. You lived your life for freedom's fight and for Ireland's 32. He was proud to give the gun salute when they honoured Bobby Sands, and again for Joe MacDonald with his rifle in his hand, beaten and arrested when that funeral was attacked. Did a sentence in the H blocks and then reported back. So we'll sing a P.P. Rooney from St. James's by the Falls, that fearless fighting soldier for Ireland gave his all. No more we'll see her smiling face, that face that we all knew. You lived your life for freedom's fight and for Ireland's 32. The fight for Irish freedom led him overseas to England and to Europe for Ireland's liberty. He was over in Gibraltar with his comrade Dan McCann, who was murdered with Mairead and Sean far from their native land. So we'll sing a P.P. Rooney from St. James's by the Falls, that fearless fighting soldier for Ireland gave his all. No more we'll see her smiling face, that face that we all knew. You lived your and for Ireland's 32.
There we go, fantastic there, folks. Damien Quinn with the ballad of Peter Pepe Rooney, folks, from legendary volunteer there from West Belfast.